Well, in 2005, an Israeli archaeologist announced to the world that she had uncovered the ruins of King David's palace in Jerusalem.
After 5,000 years, King Solomon's tomb has finally been opened, unveiling secrets that shocked the world. Priceless treasures, ancient texts, and mysterious relics that could rewrite history as we know it. What hidden truths did this legendary king bury? Dive into a discovery that will leave you speechless. Join us to uncover the secrets of Solomon's tomb. The hidden tomb. For many, many years, people whispered about the final resting place of King Solomon. He was one of history's most famous and mysterious kings, and many believed his tomb was filled with secrets too powerful to reveal. But no one could find it. People searched, followed old stories, and studied faded maps, but it always felt like looking for a tiny needle in a huge desert. Even with modern tools, archaeologists faced the same problem. Year after year, teams explored hills, valleys, and ancient ruins, but nothing ever turned up. One of these brave teams was led by a kind, determined woman named Dr. Emily Carter. She and her team worked under the hot sun, in dusty caves, and through thick forests. But for a long time, they found nothing but dead ends. Then, one ordinary afternoon, everything changed. The team found a pile of very old tax papers. At first, no one paid much attention to them, but as they looked closer, they noticed something odd. Long ago, people had sent steady payments and gifts to a lonely part of the Jerusalem hills. It was a place no one had thought important before. Curious, the team used satellite images to check the land from above. What they saw made their hearts beat faster. The natural hills and valleys were rough and uneven, except in one small spot. There, the lines were straight and the corners were sharp, as if something man-made was buried below. Excited, they quickly planned a dig, but as soon as they started, their tools hit something extra hard. At first, they thought it was just normal rock, but Dr. Carter's friend, Dr. Hughes, took a closer look. It wasn't natural at all. It was a carefully built stone wall, made to keep grave robbers away and to hide what lay beneath. While waiting for new tools, the team asked the local people about old stories. That's when they heard a strange tale about a shepherd boy who once lost his goat in a crack in the earth. The boy claimed he saw walls that sparkled like stars deep underground. This made Dr. Carter think of old stories about King Solomon's love for glittering stone. Then, nature gave them a bit of luck. A heavy rainstorm soaked the hills. As water rushed everywhere, they noticed something unusual. In one spot, the water circled and vanished into a small dip in the ground. It was like the earth was pointing out a hidden doorway. They brought in special machines to scan the ground, and what they found took their breath away. Beneath them was a maze of secret tunnels. The ancient builders had made these tunnels to trick anyone who tried to get in. If someone chose the wrong path, the tunnels would collapse and trap them forever. But Dr. Carter had spent years studying ancient Hebrew building methods. Using what she knew, they carefully worked their way through the maze. Room by room, they found surprises. Some had rotten ceilings. Others still held dangerous traps, even after thousands of years. Just when it seemed like they might have to give up, with money running out and danger everywhere, something wonderful happened. They uncovered a tiny golden seal with King Solomon's royal mark. It was the proof they needed to keep going. Slowly and patiently, they mapped every room, took careful photos, and made 3D images of everything they saw. The tomb was so old and fragile that even modern tools could break it. They had to build supports to stop the walls and ceilings from falling while they worked. Regular archaeology wasn't enough for this tomb. They used artificial intelligence to spot tiny patterns no one could see with the naked eye. The deeper they went, the heavier the air felt, almost as if the walls themselves were watching them. It felt like the tomb was testing them, allowing only the worthy to enter. Near the end of their search, they found something surprising, a set of riddles carved into the stone. Each riddle had to be solved to move forward. Every answer revealed a new piece of Solomon's story. The tomb wasn't just a grave, it was a message left by a wise king. Then, just when they thought they had reached the end, an earthquake shook the ground. Stones cracked, tunnels trembled, and the precious tomb seemed ready to collapse. The team worked day and night to keep it standing. At last, after so many years of searching, digging, and hoping, they reached the final doorway. Though it was a place of death, it felt alive with stories from long ago. The search for King Solomon's tomb had turned into a beautiful adventure filled with mystery, danger, and art. So what did they find inside the doorway? And how did they get to open the doorway? If you want to find out, stay with us. Unlocking the silence. For hundreds of years, the sealed gateway to King Solomon's tomb stayed untouched, hiding its ancient secrets beneath heavy layers of earth and stone. It was more than just a doorway. It was a clever puzzle, carefully made by people who wanted to protect their beloved king's final resting place. When Dr. Emily Carter and her team finally reached the old stone entrance, their hearts were filled with both excitement and fear. They knew one small mistake could cost them priceless pieces of history. Their mission was clear: to open the tomb without harming anything inside. The team quickly realized that normal tools wouldn't be enough. This wasn't just a pile of rocks. It was a brilliant design created by people who loved riddles and traps as much as they loved stone and mortar. To understand its secrets, the team turned to modern technology. Using ground-penetrating radar, they carefully scanned the area around the entrance. What they discovered amazed them. Behind the stone door was a maze of rooms and hidden devices, built by ancient builders nearly 5,000 years ago. The first real clue came from a simple observation. Dr. Hughes, one of the experts on the team, noticed strange markings on the surface of the stone. These weren't random scratches made by time or careless hands. They were clearly placed there on purpose. Old writings had mentioned that Solomon enjoyed puzzles and number games. The symbols on the door seemed to match these stories. Excited, the team studied the patterns, using the old Hebrew calendar to help them understand. Working closely with wise local scholars, they made a computer simulation of how the door might open. The radar showed 7 pressure points on the stone, each linked to an important number from King Solomon's life. But this wasn't a job for brute strength. They had to press the points gently, in a very special order. It took 3 long days to figure it out. The team worked in shifts, carefully pressing and testing each spot with special tools. Every small movement of the stone brought fresh hope. As they got closer, the air inside the chamber felt heavier, as though the past itself was watching them. The hardest part came on the final day. They had to press 3 pressure points at the exact same time. One wrong move could cause the rocks to fall, closing the tomb forever. At that tense moment, Dr. Carter stepped forward to take the lead. Staying calm, she worked the ancient locks with steady hands, combining modern skill with deep respect for the people who built this place so long ago. Slowly, after 5,000 silent years, the heavy stone door began to shift. A soft glow of light broke through the darkness, shining into a world no one had seen for centuries. But the surprises weren't over. Behind the first door, they found another smaller one, covered in strange symbols they had never seen before. Although it was unexpected, the team didn't panic. They drew on everything they had learned from the first door and prepared to face this new challenge. Even though news of their discovery had spread around the world, the team stayed focused. Experts in preservation rushed in to protect the fragile site. They carefully checked the air, adjusting it to keep the ancient items safe. Soft, gentle lighting was set up to protect the old paintings and carvings from damage. For the team, opening the door wasn't just about stepping into a lost room. It was about honoring the people who made it. They understood that they had done more than break through stone. They had brought together modern science and ancient wisdom. The people who built this tomb had created not only a resting place for their king, but also a test of patience, knowledge, and courage for those who would come long after them. What lay inside King Solomon's tomb? When the massive stone door moved, it felt like time itself stopped. The tomb had stayed sealed for centuries, hiding its secrets under layers of dust and stone. As the ancient air escaped, it carried the scent of old incense and forgotten stories. Dr. Emily Carter raised her flashlight into the dark and revealed a sight that left the team breathless. Before them was a room beyond their wildest dreams. The walls glowed softly, with specks of gold dust floating in the air like tiny stars. Bright, colorful paintings covered every surface, telling stories of wisdom, strength, and a legendary king whose name still echoed through time. At the center stood a grand golden throne, its armrests shaped like fierce lions. Even after all those years, the throne's cushions still showed the mark of the last person who sat upon it. Gems sparkled on its surface, creating lively patterns as light struck them. Dr. Hughes quietly noted how this matched stories about Solomon's famous throne with 6 steps and 12 lions, symbols of the ancient tribes. The chamber was filled with ceremonial treasures, perfectly placed long ago. 7 golden menorahs formed a circle, their shine untouched by time. Nearby, incense burners held the remains of dried resins. Everything felt as though it had been left waiting for its rightful owner's return. On a simple table, the team found a ring with Solomon's royal seal and the Star of David. Next to it lay ancient scrolls, their Hebrew writing delicate yet clear. These scrolls might hold wisdom and stories from Solomon's own hand. In a hidden side room, the team found a cozy space with desks, ink pots, and reed pens, as if someone had just stepped away. The air still smelled of sweet oils. It seemed to be a quiet place where Solomon himself might have written his wise words for future generations. They also uncovered proof of Solomon's far-reaching trade empire. In chests and jars were Chinese silk, carved African ivory, and sealed containers filled with the scent of Indian spices. These finds proved that the stories of his vast trading connections were real, not just old legends. In a dark corner, they spotted a locked chest covered in strange symbols that shimmered in the light. No one could read them, but everyone felt certain it held something truly precious. As the team moved deeper into the tomb, they realized this was only the beginning. Gold and sparkling gems decorated every corner. The treasures were greater than anyone had imagined. Emeralds, rubies, and diamonds so bright they seemed to glow. One deep blue stone drew special attention. It glimmered with an inner light, leading some to wonder if it was the legendary Shamir, said to have magical powers. No one could prove it, but its beauty was undeniable. Among the riches were solid gold vessels from Solomon's temple, each marked with writing about their sacred uses. These were not just treasures, they were pieces of a vanished world's soul. The scrolls, still perfectly readable, were the most precious find. They spoke of trade, royal visits, and personal thoughts. Best of all, they contained wise sayings and proverbs never seen before. In another room, the team discovered ancient musical instruments, including a beautifully made 10-string harp said to have been Solomon's. These weren't ordinary tools. They were works of art, built to be as beautiful as the music they made. But that wasn't all they saw. Stay tuned, because what they found out will leave you stunned. The forgotten treasures of King Solomon's tomb. Inside King Solomon's tomb, surrounded by shining gold, sparkling jewels, and priceless treasures, one simple clay tablet quietly caught everyone's eye. It wasn't fancy, yet it felt important. When the team carefully brushed it off and read the ancient writing, they were moved by Solomon's personal thoughts about life, wisdom, and the emptiness of chasing wealth. His words sounded like the ancient book of Ecclesiastes, reminding everyone that real value is found in kindness, peace, and understanding, not in riches. It was a message that still made sense even in modern times. With every step deeper into the tomb, the team's excitement grew. Every item they found told another part of Solomon's story. One of the first treasures was a beautiful golden scepter decorated with bright blue lapis lazuli stones. The design was so delicate and perfect that even today's jewelers would struggle to copy it. Its beauty matched old Hebrew stories, proving that legends about Solomon were more real than people once believed. Nearby, a group of researchers uncovered scrolls tucked inside copper tubes. Because of the tomb's safe, cool air, the scrolls were still in good shape. When the team began reading them, they found wise teachings believed to be written by Solomon himself, lessons no historian had seen before. These writings spoke about leadership, faith, and the importance of balance in life, offering a rare look into the mind of a great king. Another strange find puzzled the team. It was a bronze object with tiny gears and Hebrew letters on it. Some experts thought it might have been an ancient tool for watching the stars, suggesting that Solomon's people understood science better than anyone had guessed. Among Solomon's personal things, they found his royal seal ring. Made of pure gold with a six-pointed star, it looked just like the one described in old records. Tests showed it was from around 970 BCE, the time when Solomon ruled. Holding that ring made the team feel as though history was right there in their hands. In a corner of the tomb, a crystal ball filled with a mysterious liquid sparkled against the walls when light touched it. No one knew what the liquid was, but its beauty added to the magic of the discovery. In another room, the team found royal robes made from rich fabrics, decorated with golden threads and shining gems. Experts on old fabrics were amazed at how well the clothes had been preserved and how skilled the people were who made them. Alabaster jars still held traces of ancient perfumes and spices, filling the air with sweet, forgotten scents. Some plants in the jars no longer exist today, making the find valuable for both historians and plant experts. A stack of clay tablets covered in codes and numbers revealed surprisingly advanced math skills from Solomon's time. Hidden compartments filled with letters from other kings and rulers gave hints about Solomon's powerful connections and wise leadership. There were also beautiful musical instruments, including harps and string tools no one had seen before. These showed that music was an important part of life in Solomon's court and royal ceremonies. Finally, in a shadowy part of the tomb, the team found a black box covered in ancient symbols. Inside was a detailed map showing secret tunnels under the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. It revealed lost paths and hidden rooms long forgotten, and these paths led to much more than mystery. It left encrypted instructions. What were these secrets that the king left behind? Stick with us because it will make you rethink what you thought it is. The secrets carved in Solomon's tomb. The old walls of King Solomon's tomb were more than just decorations. Every carving, symbol, and word seemed to quietly tell stories from a long-forgotten world, finally ready to be heard again. As Dr. Emily Carter gently touched the ancient Hebrew writings, she realized these weren't just markings. They were messages from wise and clever people carefully carved into stone to last forever. One of the most touching finds came from the Eastern Wall. There, the team found a beautiful prayer written by Solomon himself. In it, he spoke about the heavy responsibility of ruling a kingdom. He compared leadership to stars guiding sailors across dangerous seas. Through these words, the researchers could feel the heart of a king who, even with great power and wealth, struggled with the same hopes and fears as ordinary people. High above, carved into the ceiling, were old maps of the stars. These showed exactly how the skies looked 5,000 years ago. The team was amazed at how accurate they were. It proved that Solomon's people understood the movements of stars, the seasons, and the moon better than anyone had guessed. They used these star charts to tell time, plan harvests, and hold special ceremonies. Behind a cleverly hidden wall, the team made another surprising discovery: a collection of ancient letters between Solomon's court and other kingdoms. These papers revealed how he skillfully managed trade, friendships, and disputes with powerful lands like Egypt, Phoenicia, and others. It showed Solomon wasn't just a wise man, but also a clever leader who knew how to keep peace and grow his kingdom. On the western side of the tomb, the team uncovered old knowledge about healing. Carvings explained how to treat different illnesses with natural remedies. One method used honey to heal wounds, something modern science has since proven works well. These texts showed how ancient healers combined simple medicines with prayers, offering both care and comfort to the sick. The walls also spoke of the famous Queen of Sheba. Until then, many believed she was only a legend, but these writings proved she was real and a trusted partner of Solomon. The texts described how she shared skills in farming, trade, and water management from her distant homeland, helping to improve life in Solomon's kingdom. Some carvings were written in a secret code. Dr. Robert Hughes spent weeks cracking the messages. What he found was incredible: instructions for building Solomon's first temple in Jerusalem. These step-by-step guides showed how ancient builders achieved perfect designs without modern tools. It was proof that their skills were far greater than history had recorded. Close to the burial chamber, the archaeologists discovered something tender and personal: notes left by the workers who built the tomb. Some wrote their names, proud of their work. One touching message said the tomb was made with great love for their king. It was a reminder that behind all the grand stonework were simple, hard-working people filled with pride. In some parts of the tomb, there were warnings carved into the walls, claiming terrible things would happen if anyone disturbed the site. While a few team members laughed at these ancient curses, others believed those warnings might explain why the tomb had stayed untouched for so long. Perhaps the most delightful surprise was on the northern wall, musical notes carved into stone. These markings might help experts recreate the very songs played in Solomon's royal court. Musicians and historians alike were thrilled at the chance to one day hear the same tunes that once filled the king's palace. So what does this discovery mean? Let's find out. Today's representation of the tomb discovery. This amazing find has filled scholars, researchers, and ordinary people with joy and curiosity. Everyone wants to learn about the secrets hiding inside the tomb. Among the treasures found were objects written about in ancient writings from thousands of years ago. There were royal symbols, old letters, and beautiful objects that proved Solomon's connection with famous places like Egypt and the Queendom of Sheba. These discoveries showed that Solomon ruled a rich and busy land where people from different countries traded, worked together, and shared ideas, far more than people had imagined before. One of the most surprising things was how cleverly the tomb was built. The secret doors, tricky locks, and perfect designs amazed the experts. No one could believe that people 5,000 years ago created something so advanced without the modern tools we have today. It made scholars rethink what ancient builders really knew and how smart and skilled they truly were. Every time the team made a new discovery, another piece of the puzzle fell into place. Special machines helped them find hidden rooms, forgotten tunnels, and even old traps made to stop thieves. The way the tomb's treasures had been safely preserved was just as surprising. The careful methods used reminded experts of the famous mummies of Egypt. This showed that these ancient civilizations might have shared their knowledge long before anyone had written it down. But the tomb wasn't only about treasures and clever buildings. It also taught lessons about nature. By studying tiny clues in the artifacts, researchers discovered what the weather and land were like thousands of years ago. This gave them a better idea of how ancient people lived through good seasons and hard times. And since today's world faces many challenges with the environment, these old lessons could be helpful for us now. One of the most beautiful lessons from this discovery is that ancient legends might hold more truth than people thought. Stories once dismissed as old fairy tales turned out to be memories of real things that had simply been waiting to be found. It makes people all over the world wonder what other treasures and forgotten stories are still hiding in the earth. The tomb also changed how people see King Solomon's rule. For a long time, many believed his kingdom was small and simple, but the treasures, writings, and clever inventions found in the tomb proved that his world was full of wisdom, beauty, and great ideas. Dr. Emily Carter, who led the discovery team, was especially touched by the stone tablets they found. On them, Solomon had written about leadership, kindness, fairness, and the meaning of life. These words showed a king who was strong but also gentle and thoughtful, facing the same big questions people still ask today. This discovery isn't only for history books or museums. Dr. Carter believes the ancient building designs might inspire new ideas for modern buildings. The natural remedies listed in the tomb might even help today's doctors. And the pure, shining metals used in the treasures have amazed scientists because their quality is better than what people believed possible in ancient times. What makes Dr. Carter happiest is knowing there's still so much more to find. Every new discovery leads to new questions and opens new doors. This tomb isn't just a place for the past, it's a living classroom filled with stories about human courage, imagination, and the wish to leave something beautiful behind for future generations. And all these are attributed to one man, King Solomon. But who really was he? Let's dive in. The Golden King. Solomon was the son of the famous King David, the same David who defeated the giant Goliath and united the tribes of Israel. No one expected young Solomon to become king because he was just a boy about 12 years old. But against all odds, Solomon proved to be a wise and capable leader from a very young age. What made Solomon so special was his incredible wisdom. When he became king, he prayed to God, asking not for riches or a long life, but for wisdom to rule his people fairly and know right from wrong. God was pleased with this unselfish request, and promised Solomon unmatched wisdom, along with riches and honor as a reward. Stories of Solomon's wise decisions quickly spread far and wide. One famous tale tells of two women arguing over a baby, both claiming to be the mother. Solomon cleverly suggested cutting the baby in two and giving each woman a half. One woman quickly begged the king to give the baby to the other, revealing herself as the true mother. This clever solution amazed everyone and showed how deeply Solomon understood people's hearts. Under Solomon's rule, Israel grew rich and powerful. He built roads, beautiful palaces, and strong forts, but his greatest achievement was the first temple in Jerusalem, a grand and holy place for worship. It took 7 years to build and was decorated with gold, fine wood from Lebanon, sparkling gems, and beautiful carvings. People came from faraway lands just to see its beauty. Solomon wasn't only a king, he was also a writer, poet, and thinker. Many people believe he wrote parts of the Bible, including Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and the Song of Solomon. These writings offer wisdom about life, love, work, and the search for meaning. Even today, people read his words and find comfort in his lessons. During his time as king, trade flourished. Solomon made strong friendships with nearby kingdoms like Egypt and Phoenicia. His famous ships sailed across the seas, bringing back gold, silver, spices, ivory, and rare animals. Ancient mines in places like Timna Valley provided copper for the kingdom's grand buildings. One of the most exciting stories from Solomon's life was his meeting with the Queen of Sheba. She traveled to Jerusalem with a caravan full of gifts to test Solomon's wisdom with difficult questions. Solomon answered them all with ease. The queen was so impressed by his wisdom and the beauty of his kingdom that she admitted stories about him didn't capture his true greatness. But like many rulers, Solomon faced problems in his later years. He married many foreign wives, precisely 700 wives and 300 concubines, and allowed them to practice their religions in Israel. This upset many people and strained the kingdom's peace. His love for luxury and his many building projects also led to high taxes, which made some tribes unhappy. Solomon died peacefully at about 55 years old after ruling for 40 years. After his death, the kingdom 1553 to 1602 split in two. His son Rehoboam struggled as 10 of the tribes broke away, creating the Kingdom of Israel in the north, while Judah remained in the south with Jerusalem as its capital. Even though Solomon's rule eventually ended, his legacy lived on. He became famous, not just for his wisdom and wealth, but also for the mysteries that surrounded him. Legends spoke of a magic ring, called the Seal of Solomon, which gave him power over spirits and the ability to speak to animals. While these stories may be myths, they show how deeply people around the world admired him. What do you think about King Solomon? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more celebrity gist. Before you go, watch the other videos on your screen.